Hey guys, my hair is very wet right now, but I have to film this video right now because it looks like we're going to be getting some thunderstorms and rain, so it's getting darker by the second here. So if you film videos, then you know that the best light that you can get for your videos, if you film with natural lighting, is morning light. So I can't film this afternoon because the lighting will be crazy. You get like different colors at different times of the day. So anyways, if my wet hair bothers you, I'm sorry, but now is the time to film. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about today is how I organize my MAC palettes. I'm also going to give you some information about MAC palettes if you don't have any and you're interested. They have several different kinds of empty palettes to choose from. Unfortunately, they do not have them at MAC counters. You have to go to an actual MAC store, or if you don't have a store within driving distance, you can order from their website. I have had a lot of problems in the past with ordering online from companies and stores. MAC I have never had a problem with. And when I say problems, I have some special issues that you probably don't have. I have some shipping problems because my mailing address is different than my billing address. So a lot of times your credit card information has to match your address, or a company won't deal with you, or if a lot of times when you place orders, you have to give your address first, then you do the final checkout. Well, I can't do that because I need to know who the delivery person is going to be. Is it going to be UPS, FedEx? Is it going to be United States Post Office? I have to know all these things because if it's going to be UPS or FedEx, then they're going to need my physical address. If it's going to be United States Post Office, then they're going to need my mailing address because the two aren't the same. So that creates a problem for me. Plus, I have had so many problems with fraud on my credit cards. My credit cards have been switched out so many times that I'm surprised the credit card companies even still want to deal with me, because sometimes with makeup, the only way you can get something is to get it online. And so I'm trying not to buy any more makeup online, which really limits me because there's tons of companies that the only way you can get it is online. ColourPop, Morphe, there's tons of them. So anyways, now I'm trying to shop just in stores because I don't know what the deal is with my credit cards, but I've had so many problems with fraud. So I'm not doing that anymore. Unless, you know, maybe I can get like a temporary Visa gift card or something if I have to have something that I can only get online. All right, so anyways, like I was saying, there are tons of different kinds of empty MAC palettes that you can buy. The ones that I choose to buy are called the Pro Palette Large. So it's the large Pro Palette, and it's the single-sided, because they also have a double or duo-sided. But these are the ones that I like. They're only $8 a piece, but there is an insert that you can buy and put in it if you want to. That's an additional $6. I don't get those because now you're going to be able to fit way less eyeshadows. So it's going to work in terms of the magnet inside. It's going to work whether you get the insert or not. So why wouldn't you rather just not get the insert and then you can fit way more? So they have a clear cover on the front now. They didn't used to a few years back, but they have a clear cover on the front. But I can't utilize that because of the way I organize them. But we'll get to that in a second. So this is what one would look like on the inside. Now you might see some empty slots there. Those are the slots of the ones that I don't have yet. Hopefully within the next few months I will finish my collection because I only need 8 more colors to have all of the ones that are available from the permanent line. Now the permanent type eyeshadows that go in these palettes are not the same as the ones that come in the little pots. The ones that come in the little pots are $16, which is a lot of money. So I prefer not to buy those. I prefer to buy the pan style eyeshadows. They are called Pro Palette Refill Pan. That's the real name of them, and they are $6 a piece. So there are 106 shades of these. Now if you buy them in pot form, 16 versus 6, so you're paying $10 for that stupid pot that you probably don't want anyway because it's just going to take up a lot of room in your makeup organization drawers. So yeah, if you can go this route, and I think you'll be happier with it. Because if you start to collect MAC eyeshadows, eventually you're going to want to probably depot those big plastic pots anyway. So you're, losing out on a certain amount of money. Now you can recycle those, but a lot of MAC counters won't take that empty container if it doesn't have the pan in it. So if you depot it, the pan is going to go in your palette. And so, yeah, a lot of places will not take that empty pot without the actual pan. So, okay, so now in terms of my labeling, I don't like to spend a lot of money or do it fancy because I have found that I like to change my system sometimes. So I'm going to show you the system that I'm currently using, but the reason why I do it the way I do it is to make it easy to change it if I want to. So this is the front of one of my palettes of the permanent type eyeshadows. And yeah, it's not fancy. It doesn't cost anything much really to do it this way. So I just take paper that I would use for my printer and cut a piece that would fit the front of the palette with scissors, and then just take Scotch tape and put a small piece of Scotch tape on all 4 sides. Now, if you look at it more closely, you can see I just took a pencil and then drew squares on here that are about the size of the eyeshadow. And again, I'm not looking for exact precision here. I'm just doing this casually because at some point I might want to take this piece of paper and just rip it off and change my setup and do it again. So in the past, I used to use labels and get really fancy with it. But the problem with labels is if you change your mind, it's going to leave a glue residue. Now you're going to have to use something to try to get that glue off. You're going to either need to use a razor blade or isopropyl alcohol or something to take that glue that's left behind, and it gets messy and it becomes a chore. I don't want it to be a chore. I want to be able to just rip this off and make a new paper if I want to, because right now the way I have my eyeshadows organized is alphabetically. So this is just one of my palettes from the permanent line. So you can see that there's an empty spot there and there's an empty spot there because there are 2 shades from this palette that I don't currently own yet. So that's what I do as far as labeling goes. Now on my my pan eyeshadows that were limited edition or discontinued, I just write at the bottom discontinued and limited edition and put that in another organizer. So that's the only thing that separates them from the permanent or the limited edition. Now, limited edition shades usually come in a pot form, so I do have to depot those. So you can't buy limited edition eyeshadows in pan form, but I do transfer them just to save space. The other thing that I have is I have a couple of these, and these are just from an office supply store. I just get mine at Staples, and it's a file folder organizer, but I use them for eyeshadows because they fit perfectly. So you're just gonna slide this from the top like that, and then you can fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can fit 6 palettes in one of these. So I have all my permanent ones in one file, and then my limited edition or discontinued colors in the other file, and then I put them up on top of right here, that plastic drawer setup where I have my sheets and pillowcases. So you can see one is sitting there, and then this one goes on the other side of it. And so I just feel like that is what works for me currently. I just changed this over the other day and did these labels because I just wanted them alphabetical right now. But before I had them by color. I had a palette that would say greens, and then would, you know, list the green eyeshadows and blues and browns. And the problem with that is you end up with more palettes. So I wanted to have it so that I only needed 2 of these racks, just to condense the whole thing down more. But I totally understand why you might like to have them by color, but just keep in mind that you're going to need a lot more palettes. And then you're going to end up having to combine colors, because otherwise you're not going to have hardly anything in certain ones. Like, for example, reds. You know, there aren't that many red eyeshadows, so now you're going to have to combine that with something else to save space. So now you might need a palette that says pinks and reds or something like that. So, you know, it's totally up to you. Do whatever you want to do. This is what I'm currently doing right now, and it's working for me. And yeah, so I just wanted to show you how I was doing it. And that's about it. If you want to know specifically like how to depot eyeshadows, MAC eyeshadows, I have a video of that I did quite a long time ago, but I would still do it the same way now that I did then. And there are different methods for that. I've used several different methods, and the one that I like the best, I don't know if I have a video on that actually. It's the one where people just use a straightener. That is probably the quickest way to do it. But yeah, so if you have any questions, let me know. And that's it for today, I guess, you guys. And thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe, hit the subscribe button. And I'll see you next time. Bye.